going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we're for AEW Rampage and SmackDown review for October the 22nd, 2021. And holy shit, what a way to end your wrestling weekend before we get into wrestling tomorrow night with Pac and Andrade 2. This was an awesome match. It was your main event of Rampage tonight. We're going to get into Rampage as we do before we get to SmackDown. We'll talk about SmackDown a little bit later because honestly, it was a who gives a shit show after the first, 30 minutes. So the show, Rampage started off with Powerhouse Hobbs versus Orange Cassidy in the AEW Men's Eliminator Championship Tournament. The winner, of course, will go on to face the winner of Hangman Adam Page versus Kenny Omega, probably at the December special that they will do, which will probably be a 2-night affair like they did for Grand Slam in September. November, we'll have one. We'll have a pay-per-view. In December, it will probably be like, maybe they'll do Winter is Coming Part 2, even though it wouldn't make sense to use Winter is Coming, because quite clearly, Winter is Coming was meant to be Sting, and that's exactly what it was. But that is neither here nor there. Tonight, we had Powerhouse Hobbs taking on Orange Cassidy, with Orange Cassidy having a little bit of a rib injury after the casino ladder match that he was in a couple weeks ago. Matt Hardy put him through a table and really worked on those ribs. So Orange Cassidy came out to this match with his ribs taped to give him a clear disadvantage. Now, of course, Matt Hardy was sitting at ringside because for whatever reason, even though the Hardy family office has been beaten by Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends time and time again, his obsession with Orange Cassidy is not over with for whatever reason. By the way, Excalibur, Ricky Starks, Chris Jericho, and Taz are on commentary for this, so we're back to the 4-man group. I wish we would only be at a 3-man. 3-man is the best that we should have, is the most I can stomach usually. I wish they would just, like, if you're not going to have Mark Henry there, and you're going to have Chris Jericho there, we don't need Ricky Starks. Or if you want Ricky Starks there, give it to Taz. Taz does dark. He does the stuff with Team Taz. We don't need him on Rampage as well. I really wish when we came to Rampage, we had ourselves Mark Henry and Chris Jericho would have been the perfect team for me. And maybe Excalibur for the first few months to get Mark Henry, to get the reps in for Mark Henry, and then eventually be down to Chris Jericho and Mark Henry. That would have been great. I mean, look at Dark Elevation. Most of the times it's Excalibur and Taz for Dark, and Tony Schiavone and Paul White for Dark Elevation. 2-man booths are so much better. Just saying. So, like I said, for the majority of this match, it was Powerhouse Hobbs working on Orange Cassidy. They did also note that July of last year, Will Hobbs, as he was known at the time, Will Hobbs made his AEW debut in a 12-second loss to Orange Cassidy, who came out, Orange punch to the face, 1, 2, 3, and that was that. And of course, at the time, Powerhouse Hobbs was just a jobber on the jobber side of Dark, because Dark Elevation wasn't even in existence yet, and he would just go out there, lose quick matches, and move on. Eventually, he was signed to AEW, and for a few weeks, he was a good guy who teamed up with Jon Moxley, was helping Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes until one day he decided to take the FDW title and smack it over Cody Rhodes' face, becoming the third member of Team Taz, the muscle of Team Taz, and donning the name Powerhouse Hobbs. So Cassidy ducks out of the corner in time before Powerhouse Hobbs charges at him. Cassidy turns around into a loop that's pressed. Hobbs raises down a flurry of punches and hooks the leg on Cassidy. Freshly squeezed Powers out at 2. Hobbs continues to rough up Cassidy with the 2, squeezes Powers out at 2. I don't know who fucking wrote that shit. Hobbs continues to rough Cassidy up with 2 strong slams. Hardy is loving every minute of this as he watches on. We go to picture-in-picture. The majority of this match is in picture-in-picture. Just how it takes. Hobbs is just beating up Cassidy through most of the commercial. Back to break. Hobbs hammers throws Cassidy into the corner. Hobbs hoists Cassidy up into a torture rack and starts shaking him. Cassidy tries to get out of it, but Hobbs repositions, gets him back into it for a few more seconds. Cassidy is able to slide out. Stacks Hobbs up with an inside cradle. Hobbs traps Cassidy in the corner. The referee tries to get Hobbs to back up. Hobbs picks up Bryce Rensburg, who was the referee, takes it from one corner to the other, and starts saying something to him, which unfortunately that should be a disqualification. I know that AEW doesn't like to do disqualifications. It actually hurts the product that they don't do disqualifications, which I don't mean they need to do disqualifications every other show. But a DQ every once in a while is not going to kill your product. He goes over there and the referee's telling him, hey, I'm a ref, you're not supposed to touch me, I can disqualify you. So Hobbs puts his hands on the ref again. Ref shoots him away, says, one more time and I'm going to disqualify you. So Cassidy comes from behind, swoops him in, stacks him into the mousetrap, 1, 2, 3, and picks up the win. Orange Cassidy is your winner. So Orange Cassidy will take on the winner of Jon Moxley in 10, which will be happening on Wednesday when AEW goes back to Wednesday night on TNT. Tomorrow night it'll be Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston and Dustin Rhodes versus the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. Those are going to be your opening round matches. And then next Friday we will have the second round of the title eliminator tournament. Probably one match, and then the next match will be on next Wednesday. The Wednesday after, so we'll go from there. AEW World Tag Team Champion Penta El Miedo and Alex Abrahantes come to the ring to have an interview time. Phoenix is not here because, as you saw on the highlight they showed, Phoenix took a nasty shot with the AAA Tag Team Championship to the face, and he was selling the injury. Before Penta can say anything, we see two guys in the audience wearing the green mask that FTR were wearing. Penta goes over, rips them off. It's two bums. I don't know who the fuck they were. FTR from behind. They ambush and take out Penta, throw Alex into the ring, beat him up a little bit, and then they grab not just the AAA Tag Team titles, but the AEW World Tag Team titles, hold both of them up, indicating they want those Tag Team Championships. And that is going to be your match at Full Gear for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Hell, it might even become a winner-take-all because it is the AAA Tag Team Champions on one side and the AEW World Tag Team Champions on the other. I could totally see a winner-take-all match, and of course, the Lucha Bros should be winning that match, as they are destined to take on the tag team of Pride and Powerful. And if the Lucha Bros lose the tag team titles before they have that match or matches with Pride and Powerful, that's AEW leaving money on the table. That's a big money match. And with FTR getting the title match at the next pay-per-view, then Pride and Powerful should be getting the tag team title match at Revolution. That's a pay-per-view quality match right then and there. If you want to see Pride and Powerful and the Lucha Bros beating each other up, I believe Impact does have a match of theirs on their YouTube channel. Okay, Impact seems to just have highlights, but if you want to see what we could be getting in AEW, go to YouTube and type Lucha Bros versus LAX. And you will find classic matches on there. I believe Full Metal Mayhem's actually on there somewhere. But that is your pay-per-view match coming up. FTR versus the Lucha Bros. We saw the match we saw on last Saturday. I'm sure a pay-per-view match will be 10 times better. It was a good match for what it was. It was a short match. But Lucha Bros, FTR, 10, 15, 20 minutes, 15, maybe 20 minutes on pay-per-view. You'll have a hell of a match. Then we had Anna Jay in a grudge match against the Faker, the Women's World Champion. This match fucking sucked. Anna Jay wasn't the problem in this match. Anna Jay did everything she could to finally make this match look good. The Faker sucks. She botches time and time again. Anna Jay has the Queen Slater, the Prayer for the Clutch, the whatever you want to call it, the rear naked choke as her finisher. She had the champion applied in the rear naked choke for 5 minutes, it felt like. Maybe 2.5, whatever. She got her in this thing. Eventually, they get back up after being on the ground for a minute and a half. Now, there's a spot that you go to where you're supposed to, when you're the one in the rear naked choke, you're supposed to go to the ropes, climb up, kick back, and get into a pinning predicament and get a 2 count. What happened? What do you think happened? She fucking botched it because she can't fucking wrestle worth shit. There was also something that happened in the middle of this match. I don't know what the hell they were trying to do. But again, the faker botched, where she tried to pull Andrade over and into probably a crucifix pin. But again, she fucking botched because she fucking sucks. Now, I'm not saying Andrade is one of the best wrestlers in the world. She is very young. She was only in her 7th match when she made her AEW debut last year. But she is leagues better than this fucking champion. This is why the women's championship in AEW is meaningless. You have a champion who can't fucking wrestle, who botches all the fucking time, and she's supposed to be the best in the company. Only the best of the best should be holding the championships. The Lucha Bros, one of the best damn tag teams in wrestling. Sammy Guevara, one of the best up-and-coming superstars in AEW. Kenny Omega, one of the absolute greatest wrestlers in the sport today. Those 3 are justified as being champion. I cannot justify, and I have not justified, nobody can justify, since she won this championship, why she's the women's champion. Maybe she can one day be one of the best out there, but she is nowhere close to being world champion material. Now, if somebody else was women's champion and you made her the TBS champion, I would have been like, okay, it's a championship for the have. It's not the world title, but it's a compromise for the company. But having the women's championship on this woman who can't even fucking wrestle a good match is absolutely asinine. This title needs to come off of her ASAP. Until that title comes off of her, and if you give Jade Cargill the TBS championship, which we'll get to in a minute, this company in the women's division is fucking hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. Now, she won. Who cares? Moving on. We talk about the TBS Women's Championship, the TBS Championship bracket as it was announced soon after this match. Here's the bracket for you. You have the top 4. I don't like this at all. You have the top 4 here. Thunder Rosa, Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose, and Kris Statlander are your 4th round buys. Anna Jay and Jamie Hayter will face off. The winner takes on Thunder Rosa. The Bunny takes on Red Velvet. The winner takes on Jade Cargill. So you know Jade Cargill is going to the semifinals. Plain and simple. Nyla Rose takes on the winner of Hikaru Shida and Serena Deeb. And Kris Statlander takes on the winner of Ruby Soho and Penelope Ford. Why could we not find 4 more women? Oh, I don't know. You could have put Rebel in here to take on Jade Cargill and get killed by Cargill. You could have had Layla Hirsch versus Nyla Rose. Layla Hirsch versus Thunder Rosa. Layla Hirsch versus Kris Statlander. Why are we only getting 12 women? Sky Blue has been the sentimental favorite by everybody. You even had Sky Blue cut a promo when this title was announced to have a tournament. She hoped she was in it. She's not in this tournament. She could have went up against a Jade Cargill or a Nyla Rose and got killed in about 3 minutes just to give the 4 people that you have as a buy somebody to face. Thunder Rosa versus Tay Conti. I know Tay Conti got involved after the stuff with Anna Jay earlier, but you have Anna Jay versus Jamie Hayter. Why can't you have Tay Conti versus, I don't know, Thunder Rosa, or Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose, or Kris Statlander? That's one woman, Tai Conti. 2, Sky Blue. Emi Sakura's around, isn't she? You could have put her in here. Big Swole. Where is she at? Why? Of course, I can understand why Big Swole hasn't been getting many pushes because of her medical problem. She's just going to be somebody you're going to see on Dark and Dark Elevation. They're not really going to do much with Big Swole, and it's not her fault. But seriously, you could have had Kira Hogan, somebody else you just signed recently. Why isn't she in this tournament? Kira Hogan, Layla Hirsch, Tay Conti, and Sky Blue. Those 4 could have made up the rest of this tournament. We could have had a 16-woman tournament, and I don't know why they're starting this tomorrow. Even if you have one match a night, one match a week, is this going to take that long? I guess the maths checks out. I mean, the finals is going to be on that first episode on TBS. That's why they're doing this tournament. But honestly, you could have, because you have Wednesday night and Rampage. You could have literally had a match for the Eliminator tournament and a match for the women's title, the TBS title, and had them on like Wednesday. And I know, they can't have them on Rampage because that's going to be on TNT. Who gives a shit? They don't go to TBS till January 5th of next year. They could have matches every single. They could have a match on Wednesday and Friday, and got through this to where you have a 16-person tournament. Why are we only getting 12? If you want to do that, then fuck it and just do an 8-woman tournament. There is no reason to do this shit with a bye week with the first round buys. It looks fucking stupid. So, looking at the tournament as we have it right now, it's real obvious that it's going to be Thunder Rosa. It's most likely going to be Thunder Rosa versus Jade Cargill in the semifinals. And Nyla Rose, I don't know, it's going to be... The top half is so easily predictable. It's the bottom half that's a coin flip either way. If Ruby Soho beats Penelope Ford, it's Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho. Who the fuck wins that match? That's a coin flip right there, and that's very unpredictable. Serena Deeb versus Shida. The winner of that match takes on Nyla Rose, and I couldn't tell you who's going to win that match. I mean, Nyla Rose could win easily. Serena Deeb or Shida could beat Nyla Rose easily. So honestly, the top half is lame as shit until you get to the semifinals, which is obviously most likely going to be, and it probably is going to be Thunder Rosa and Jade Cargill. But after that, but other than that, it's the bottom half that's the most interesting, for sure. Shida versus Deeb, that can go either way. Shida versus Deeb versus Nyla Rose. We've seen it a couple times. We haven't seen it since Shida won the championship last year. Deeb versus Nyla Rose. We haven't seen that yet, if I'm correct. That would be interesting. And then, Penelope Ford, Ruby Soho. The Bunny could help Penelope Ford win. And then you get Chris Statlander and the Bunny in Penelope Ford. That's definitely very, very unpredictable. So I think it's going to be Thunder Rosa and Ruby Soho in the finals. That would be very interesting. Or it's gonna either be Jade Cargill or Thunder Rosa versus Ruby Soho, and I think Ruby Soho should be your inaugural champion. Do not make the same mistake with the TBS championship that you are with the Women's World Championship, because if you put this title on Jade Cargill, who just started wrestling in March, then you might as well just end the women's division, because both championships will be meaningless. Let's move on to the main event. This was awesome. This is what you call professional wrestling. Professional wrestling. A term that Vince McMahon and his cronies absolutely detest. Pro Wrestling 101. Something that you will not see that often in WWE because they're sports entertainment. This was a great match. I don't know who who could be upset about this match. This was what I wanted to see. And honestly, the last match felt a little flat because of the Chavo interference and the fact that it just felt like it didn't get enough time. This, oh my God, this. Andrade, I hope he's okay because his back took a beating in this match. He tried for a hangman's DDT on the outside from the apron, from the middle rope to the apron, doing a springboard. Pac moved, so Andrade ended up hitting face first. Not face first, but he went back first onto the apron. So when he hits it later, it looked like it was even worse. Pac's, like, Andrade's back was beaten pillar to post. There was a lump on the back of his, like, on the right side of his back during this match. Like, holy shit. Just so much going on in this match. I can't justify it, but holy wow. Both men battling on the apron, and Andrade achieves the advantage with the spinning inverted face lock. DDT elbow drop to escape off the apron. Andrade supposed to climb the ropes. Pac drops him straight on his family jewels. As Andrade was going up for something, he stumbled and almost fell. He had to try and readjust himself, allowing Pac to be able to jump up and knock him down. Pac sends Andrade crashing with an avalanche brainbuster. Pac stuns Andrade, which that avalanche brainbuster, holy shit. That was both men on the top rope, superplex brainbuster, damn. Stuns him with a thrust kick, perfect Poison Rana. At the tangled, Pac puts Andrade in the crucifix pin just for the 1, 2, 3. And on the count of 3, the lights go out. As if somebody was here. The lights take a minute to turn back on. It's Malachi Black. Malachi's in the ring. He missed Pac. Attacks Pac. It looks like Malachi Black and Andrade are on the same page. Everyone knows the history of Aleister Black and Andrade Cien Almas from NXT. Pac and Andrade and Black had that pretty damn good match at TakeOver. Black won the NXT Championship. And I believe they had a couple more matches on Monday Night Raw. Well, here they are again. It looks like the Friends and the formidable duo. What does this mean? Will Malachi and Andrade become a tag team or something? Who knows? They did lead together when this was all over. So Malachi's beating him up. Andrade holds him there as Malachi goes outside to get a chair. He's holding him up, ready to let this guy be sacrificed to the House of Black. When Arn Anderson walks out, takes his hand, points the Glock, takes the shot, and here comes Cody attacking and destroying and getting everybody out of the way. Sends Andrade back in, attacks Black, gets Black set up for a shot with the chair, and then Malachi books it out of here. Him and Andrade leave as Cody gets hyped and excited for tomorrow's Cody versus Malachi 3, where Cody needs to lose. Be interesting to see what happens, but outside of the women's stuff by the way, that was the only women's match tonight out of both shows, mind you. And Pac and Andrade wrestled to a combined, I think it was like 17 minutes? I think they had a 17-minute match. Yeah. That was more time in one match than you got in the entire episode of SmackDown tonight. And speaking of SmackDown, before we get to SmackDown, we have to talk about Shit Row. Because apparently, they have plans. They have big plans for Shit Row. And we'll talk about that later, too. The rest of their group, B-Fab's going to be, I guess, a manager for them. But Ashanti the Adonis and Isaiah Swerve Scott are going to be a tag team outside of tonight. And Top Dollar, AJ Francis, who can't even fucking wrestle to save his life, is going to be pushed as the single star. I give this group a fucking month before Vince McMahon is done with them. That is all I gotta say about that. We'll talk about them more because they made their debut and holy shit was that a headache. So we get pictures and everything from Crown Jewel, which happened of course yesterday, from Saudi Arabia. Michael Cole welcomes us to Wichita, Kansas with Pat McAfee. Out comes Roman Reigns. Him and Paul Heyman alone. They get to the ring. Paul Heyman didn't have the mic. Roman gets the mic and says, "Putting that title for me or for Brock?" When he put his hand out, Heyman did the right thing with the mic. But when he put his hand out on Thursday, Heyman threw the title in the ring. Should we work this out? He extends his hand and Heyman places the title in it. He says, "Well, that's pretty easy, wasn't it?" He says, "You're not really good at your job, are you?" But I am. There's no denying it at this point. I am the best at what I do. I've carried the product that carried WWE on my back for more than a year and a half. I am the tribal chief, the head of the table, the greatest universal champion of all time. Pretty much because this is probably the best booked universal championship reign of all time, and the title's only been around for, checks notes, about 5 years. And that title has been cursed. Outside of Brock Lesnar and this title reign for Roman Reigns, this title has been fucking cursed. It has. The crowd is giving the mixed reaction all day. He says he's the best because he smashed everyone on the list, getting along so long now. Daniel Bryan smashed him, which I'm not surprised they used Daniel Bryan's that name because they own the name Daniel Bryan. It didn't say Bryan Danielson or anything like that. Hall of Famer Edge smashed him. Cesaro smashed him. Balor smashed him. Cena smashed him. And your boy Brock smashed him at Crown Jewel. Speaking of Brock, what did he say about tonight's SmackDown? Heyman grabs his phone, looks up what it was said, and he says that when he comes to SmackDown tonight, he is going to, the second he comes to SmackDown, he is going to beat Roman Reigns senseless. Reigns just laughed and knocks the mic out of Heyman's hand. He says he beat Brock so bad he's tweeting now. If Brock wants to beat him senseless, he knows where to find him. This is his show. He runs WWE, and he's not going anywhere. So we go to commercial break. We come back. He's still talking. It took about, another 4 minutes, it felt like. Brock Lesnar finally comes out. They have a fight. Brock Lesnar goes to he beats the shit out of Roman Reigns, goes to put him through the table with the F5, the announce table. The Usos finally come in. They get killed for their trouble. Roman Reigns tries to attack Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar sends him into the ring post, and he beats him up some more. Referees and staff members and a cameraman get fucking thrown around like Brock Lesnar doesn't give a shit. They finally get the roster to come down. Roman and the Usos finally get away. Brock Lesnar is in the ring yelling he's Universal Champion as he's holding the title because Roman left it behind. So we go to break again. We come back. Adam Pearce is out there and says no superstar gets to do what Brock Lesnar got to do. And typical WWE booking, they have no choice but to suspend Brock Lesnar. Brock comes back out, gets in the ring, grabs him and says, I didn't hear you completely. Tell me again by he's squeezing Adam Pearce's necktie. Pearce says, I didn't have any choice, but you were suspended indefinitely. Brock Lesnar hits him with an F5, picks him up again, hits him with another F5, and Adam Pearce is dead for the rest of the night. Just lame ass booking. WWE doesn't know how to book a way to get Lesnar off TV for a few months. Book an injury angle. The Usos and Roman Reigns triple team him. Take his leg, smash the fucking steps over it, break his leg, take him off TV for a few months. That would have been interesting. That would have been a way to get Brock Lesnar gone till the Royal Rumble. So you can have Brock Roman 2 at the Royal Rumble for this trilogy that they want to do. And then, or if they want to keep it to WrestleMania, whatever, but have Brock Lesnar portrayed as he had his leg broken by the Bloodline. That would have been something to do, but did they do that? No, they did not. So, we go to commercial break, we come back, Sonya Deville's backstage on the phone as Kayla Braxton quickly tries to get a word. We see various superstars hanging around in the background on this wild night. Naomi walks up and says after the stunt Deville pulled on her last week, they have unfinished business. She wants a fair match tonight. Deville says Naomi isn't getting to make this all about her because it's not about her, and she has other things to handle besides going out there and beating Naomi up again. She tells Naomi to get out of here now. Drew McIntyre walks up, introduces himself, and says he's going to the ring to issue an open challenge. With or without her permission, he doesn't give a damn, and we'll see what superstar SmackDown has the balls to take on Drew, and he walks off. Drew gets to the ring, and we're about, 45 minutes into the show. We haven't had a single wrestling match. 45 minutes. It took them 45 minutes to have Roman Reigns talk on the mic, Brock Lesnar and him to fight, and everything else. 45 minutes. By the time Drew McIntyre gets to the ring and his opponent comes out, we are 11 minutes left in the first hour. What the fuck? He comes down, he says enough of the BS, let's have a match. He doesn't care who you are. Bring your ass to the ring so he can kick it. Tosses the mic and waits for opponent. Out comes Sami Zayn, who has new music finally. I wonder why they kept Sami Zayn with the same music, his same babyface music for so goddamn long. He has been a heel for like 2 years now, maybe 3, 4. The music that he used to come out to, that was babyface music. That was the music you would come out and like your crowd would want to say, "Let's go," and it just doesn't work with the heel stuff. They finally gave him some music that we didn't really get to hear much of because he started talking halfway down, so we'll have to wait to hear that when he comes out for a match and actually lets it play. It does start out as his own music, but quickly transitions to something else. He says he is the longest tenured member of SmackDown. Says he's the gatekeeper, and Drew might be a former WWE champion, but as far as he's concerned, he's newbie here on SmackDown. He enters the ring and says that Drew is looking for someone to answer his challenge. He's the best superstar on SmackDown, despite people trying to hold him down. He accepts the challenge, says when he beats Drew, he will remain the best superstar on SmackDown, and the fans continue booing him as he and Reigns are ready for the match. Drew are ready for the match. Match lasts maybe 4.5 to maybe 5 minutes. Drew hits a Claymore, and that is that. Vignette for Shit Row. We get the coronation to the crown for King Xavier Woods, who fulfilled his lifelong dream to be the king of the ring. And of course, he was going to be king of the ring. He wanted to be king of the ring. If you've actually been paying attention to stuff on social media, on YouTube, on Up, Down, and everywhere else, Woods has talked about how the King of the Ring was what brought him into professional wrestling. Now, if this was my company, he wouldn't have won King of the Ring because he doesn't need King of the Ring. Balor could have been, instead of Prince, he could have been King Balor. He could have turned heel, cheated to win, and became the King of the Ring. When was the last time an actual babyface, a legit babyface, won King of the Ring? 1993, if I'm correct. Bret Hart. Let's see. Owen was a heel. Mabel was a heel. Austin was a heel at the time. Triple H was a heel. Ken Shamrock, when he won, was a heel. 96, 97, I think. When was it? Ken Shamrock was a heel? Yeah. Even Billy Gunn was a heel. Brock Lesnar was a heel. Kurt Angle was a heel. Edge was the last babyface. Yeah. 2001. Yeah, 2001 when Edge won. I guess he would say he was the last babyface. Because then you had King Booker. You had Sheamus, who was a heel. Barrett, who was a heel. Regal, who was a heel. Yeah, And I think those are the ones, and then Booker, of course, and Booker was the heel. So from 2000, it took 20 years, and Corbin, of course, was the heel. It took them 20 years to have another babyface become King of the Ring. Why is that? Because King of the Ring works well with a heel a heel as King of the Ring. I don't know what they can. The only reason I would even had Xavier Woods win the King of the Ring is if you're going to splinter the New Day. Not right away. Not right away. I would have like them like playing it off as all fighting games, but over time, Xavier Woods gets more bossy towards Kofi Kingston, and he starts getting more demanding. He starts criticizing Kofi Kingston when Kofi Kingston screws up, to the point where Kofi's had enough of this and stepped to the back, and Xavier Woods is heel, and Xavier Woods is a babyface, if you want to go that way. That's the only reason I would make him King of the Ring. What are they going to do with this? I do not know. Is he going to be King Xavier Woods, or is he going to be Xavier Woods, or are they going to just kill the King gimmick within a week? He got to have his coronation tonight, which is a nice little coronation, good for them. But how long will he embrace the King gimmick? Will he be the King for the next year or so and throw pancakes and be a goofball and everything else? I do not know. So, they had a nice little proclamation, and nobody came out and interrupted it, which would have been interesting, a way to start something new for the New Day. Maybe the Usos come out, maybe a new tag team, I don't know. Maybe the Viking Raiders would turn heel, or become heels, go out there, take offense to this guy, or do something. They could have did something. But no, it was just him and Kofi goofing off, him getting to put his cape and scepter, hold the scepter and wear the helmet and wear the crown, and that was that. SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch is backstage. She's thinking about tonight's Women's title exchange with Raw Women's Champion show about 9,000, and remembered she never actually lost the Red Brand's title, and said maybe Becky Two Belts should make her return tonight. No, that was a lightning in the bottle thing 2-3 years ago. No, thank you. Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali were on a new brand for these two, and already it's Rematch-a-mania. Why? Because they could. This match lasted 2.5 minutes. Ali loses as Mansoor drops down and pins him for the 1, 2, 3. Then we see Rich Holland backstage with his baton. Holland says he's used to fighting in the streets of West Yorkshire, and if you would have told him then he'd be on SmackDown one day, he would have believed you. Then Aaliyah backstage says she's about to give SmackDown a makeover, and the brand is about to become a lot more bougie. What the fuck does that even mean? Then we hear from Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza. That would have been a perfect team to come out during the King's coronation. They could have came out, and we could have set up a tag team match for next week between Humberto Carrillo, Angel Garza, and the New Day. But no, let's just have the New Day be a bunch of goofballs, and that's that. They tell us remember the names of the hardest tag teams, because when you look like this, winning is easy. Sheamus is backstage. He says no one delivers a ring like this Celtic Warrior, and everyone knows he delivers banger after banger after banger after banger. The only thing I have to say about Sheamus being on SmackDown is if we do not get the Bar reunited by the end of the year, you're wasting our time. Sheamus, Cesaro is not going to do anything else as a baby, as a single star. Him and Sheamus as the Bar had so much more legs to, like, so much more they could have done. But no, we had to break them up. And here they are, back on the same brand. It's time to put them back together. Here comes Shit Row. This was bad. They took on Dustin Lawler and Daniel Williams, two jobbers, which of course is a smart thing for WWE to do, because outside of Isaiah Scott, nobody else was ready for the main roster. This promo was bad. Now, Top dollar, Isaiah Scott and Shotzi the Adonis, I could stomach. They were fine. As soon as B-Fab opened her goddamn mouth, I wanted to throw my TV out the goddamn window. She was giving me such a goddamn headache. Just bad. Overall. Just bad. This group has very little legs. Very little legs. People actually liked this on NXT before Vince McMahon took over. This was what saved Isaiah Scott's career in NXT. This fucking sucks. This group is not going to go anywhere. Plain and simple. So, hit row 1. Who gives a shit? Do not care. We're going to replay what happened with Brock Lesnar and them back earlier in the night. Caleb Braxton is backstage in the trainer's room waiting for an update on Pierce. DeVille comes out and says Pierce will be okay eventually. He's a little on the fragile side and isn't exactly a spring chicken, taking shots. DeVille says she's offered to go deal with Lesnar earlier, but Pierce wanted to handle it himself. Bullshit. And we saw how that ended up. She plugs the women's title exchange for later on in the show and said it could be explosive, and Pierce left her to handle it by herself. But she's sure everything will be fine, and she walks off. Here is another thing that WWE likes to do: rematch of Mania, but we also have to add the championship contenders match stipulation on it, as Shinsuke Nakamura takes on Happy Baron Corbin. Michael Cole is very, very insufferable during this match because he's sitting there laughing and joking and having laughing at all these stupid jokes that Madcap Moss will say. Like, what do you call pulp? A orange juice that says pulp on it, that says no pulp but actually has pulp in it. Pulp Fiction. And he's sitting there snickering and sneering and laughing about this shit as if it's funny. And it's not. Like, of course he would find it funny because those are coming from a 70-year-old senile old fuck named Vince McMahon and his lapdog Bruce Pritchard, who are two of the worst fucking people in the company. And so the deal with Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura is Rick Boogs will play the guitar outside as a distraction. Well, Madcap Moss stopped this, broke the guitar, and then Shinsuke Nakamura goes out to try and confront him. Corbin comes out, throws him into the ring steps, and then hits the end of days, which they actually called the end of days. So, yeah. So Corbin will be your next woman, the next challenger for the Intercontinental title, because nobody knows how to do anything. It is time for the title exchange as Becky comes out. Then we go to break, we come back, Charlotte comes out, Sonya Deville's in the ring. She wants them to exchange the championships. Becky and Charlotte are not happy about doing this, which I'm really surprised Charlotte's not happy about doing this because she's being gifted another title reign, as she'll be, what is it now, a 14-time women's champion, if I'm correct? WWE knew what they were doing. They could have easily had somebody else win the championship. They could have easily had Bianca Belair win on Monday and Sasha Banks win last night or yesterday, and we would have had the championships on the right brands. But no, WWE did this for a very specific reason. So Charlotte 9000 could be a 12-time women's champion. Absolutely pathetic. If they would count her NXT reign, she'd be a 14-time women's champion. So, since they don't count the NXT reigns anymore, she's only 5 reigns away from breaking her dad's record. And you know that's going to happen. It would not surprise me if it doesn't happen at WrestleMania 38 or 39. You know that's the plan. That was the plan from day one. That she's going to be the women's champion. She's going to be the 17-time women's champion by the time her shit's done. That's the way they did that. But after They finally exchanged the titles. Shawn Michaels like, no, you wanna be Becky 2 Bounce? How about a winner take all for tonight? Granted, there was only 3 minutes left in the show. Out comes Sasha Banks. She wants to put her name in the hat for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Becky says, you know what? I'm going off to Raw. You two figure this shit out. Throws a mic down, leaves, holding a title up in the air. She's gone. She's done. She's not coming back, hopefully anytime soon. So these two talk for a bit. They fight. And Sasha Banks stands tall as the show goes off the air. Just another shit show as usual. If it wasn't for Roman Reigns and what he's doing, this show would be unwatchable. And they went a little too long with that tonight as well. Rampage was good outside of the women's match. SmackDown outside of the first 40 minutes of the show was crap. And that is it. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video, find me on Minds of the France Club, find me on twitch.tv/The France Club, and find me on Instagram at The France Club, and I will see you guys tomorrow for real good professional wrestling. Until then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.